Childhood trauma is not just a memory, it's a blueprint. And it doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your body, your relationship, and sometimes in your DNA. Go check the previous video on psychological trauma. You can get to understand the basics about what trauma is all about. I'm Daki Duba, counseling psychologist. I was actually diagnosed childhood trauma, and now I'm helping many others with similar diagnosis in my practice. It's not your fault for you to go through whatever you've gone through. And as a child, you did all you can because that's all you can do to make sure you survive and adapt. And healing is very, very possible. So let's get to it. Childhood trauma happens when a child experiences something that is so overwhelming, so threatening that their body and mind has to go into survival mode. The child doesn't feel safe. And this event, we call it advanced childhood experiences, and they include things like the child witnessing domestic violence, let's say in the house, parents fighting in presence of the child, or the child going through neglect and abandonment. This could even be what are those mistreatments that are coming from the maid, and also different kind of abuses like physical, emotional, or even sexual, or the child losing their parents to either addiction, divorce, death, or even parent living with different mental condition. And also how we punish our children to the point sometimes we go into so much extreme that the child is beaten until they couldn't even cry, and that puts them on a different mode. Trauma is not just what happens to us, it's what happens as a result of it. And the moment a child goes through some kind of traumatic events, they really grow up feeling so unsafe, and it's like all the time they're just in hypervigilance mode and they keep scanning for any danger all through their life. Let's look at the science bit of it. Trauma doesn't just change how we feel, it changes how our genes expresses themselves, and this is what we call epigenetics. Think of your DNA as a cookbook, for example. Now, the epigenetics are those sticky notes that you can put on that cookbook that tells you which recipe to follow and which one to skip. And intergenerational trauma is real. If your parents went through abuse or even war, we tend to carry their stress responses and many other things that we can discuss about. If you went through childhood trauma, now as an adult, you could be having a lot of trauma response behaviors, whether it is seeking approvals, whether it is people pleasing, guarded trust issues, and many others. And now, for example, if you went through neglect or abandonment, this could be your parents not wanting to have you in the first place, and then you get to hear the story. So once you get to hear them, you feel like they don't really want you, or many other cases that to a child showcase a neglect or abandonment. So what happens to this child? They start guarding their trust. They don't want to trust actually they can't even trust anyone. So these trust issues could even appear in relationships, in intimacy, and it can lead to also other behaviors like withdrawal or avoiding all these things all at once. So healing is possible. I know there is more to this. There is more to trauma response behaviors that we are going to unpack in the future video, actually in the next video. You are not your trauma, and whatever you did back then, please forgive yourself. That could be the only choice you had. And now start reparenting that inner child. Where can I start from? What is it that I didn't have back then that I can give it myself right now? And if you need a professional support or someone to work with you, please ask for that help. Help exists, and professionals are there to help you. If you find this video impactful, please share it with someone who might need it, and also share with us your thoughts and your experiences about childhood trauma. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.